Hi, Rex with Sat 7. I am in Cyprus. I've been here all week and actually heading home today. But it's been a beautiful week in the low 60s. They tell me that Cyprus has had a lot of rain in the last numbers of weeks. And I can tell. I've been here probably once per year, every year for 11 years now, sometimes twice a year. And I don't remember only one other time when Cyprus has been as green as it is now. Right now, it's just utterly lush. And you drive by these green hillsides and meadows, and it made me want to just go out and find a herd of sheep or goats or something and pretend I'm a shepherd, because it's quite bucolic and it makes you want to relax and just get out there and enjoy that kind of atmosphere. Of my hotel, been able to walk up and down the beach for an hour or something like that in the mornings. Early mornings, and I'm on the beach here of Larnaca Bay, which is part of the Mediterranean Sea. And so that's an enjoyable part of why we're here too. As I said, it makes you want to relax. But we're here to work. And so I've spent a lot of time in meetings with staff, international staff at the international headquarters in Nicosia, the capital. A lot of fun. It's one of the things I enjoy most about my service in SAT7 is the international nature of the staff. And that can be sitting in a room with 5 or 7 or 9 different countries represented among the people there. And of course, it comes into play from time to time in jokes or interactions or misunderstandings too. But it's enriching, it's enjoyable. And they are a group there, a lot of young professionals who are very committed to their task. And of course, we're all working together to try to produce Christian programming in the language of Arabic or Farsi or Persian, means same thing. Or Turkish, to be broadcast over satellite television throughout the Middle East and North Africa to literally tens of millions of people who may not be able to hear, probably cannot reach, or have access to the Bible or Christian teaching, maybe in any other way, because they're subject to rulers and regimes and religion that restricts that kind of access. But with satellite television, it's virtually uncensorable. You can broadcast to them in the relative security and safety of their own homes or wherever they may be. And connect with them. And they're hungry. The Middle Easterners are hungry for outside information. They're hungry for answers, and they're hungry for information about Christian teaching, about Christ and Christianity in the church. I think there are people in the West, I know because I run into that from time to time, who believe that Middle Easterners don't care about, well, the West in general, but don't care about Christianity or Christian teaching. That's just fundamentally false. There is, as I said, a real desire to learn more, and it opens up their ability, their mind, to evaluate what they've been taught for so many years and a long time, and they've seen and experienced different things throughout their lives. And of course, some of these countries, some of the areas, there's not only suppression or oppression, there's outright persecution of Christians and the minorities. And SAT7 is broadcasting Christian teaching, Christian truth, into those homes every day to tens of millions of people. So that's an exciting task that we're about, and we're certainly committed to that. But Cyprus is an enjoyable place, not only for the beauty of the landscape, but the history here. Every empire that you've ever heard of or ever read about, when they became an empire, grabbed Cyprus, because Cyprus is this relatively small but highly strategically located island in the Mediterranean Sea, not too far from Turkey. And even in the days of the wooden sailing ships, when they needed to stop in order to hunt or to get fruit or whatever. But yet today, in kind of modern military situations and otherwise, it's a strategic place. It's strategic for SAT7 to be here in that it's a free country. It's part of the European Union. They work with the euro. There's a lot of ease of access and ability to function. Maybe the disadvantage is that when we step out the door, you're not in immediate contact with the actual audience of SAT7, who are themselves Arabic speakers or Farsi speakers in Iran, or Turkish speakers, because we're not in those countries. Now we have studios in those countries, but the international office itself is here. But it's worked. It's been quite strategic now for 24 years, and it's been a privilege to serve with that. Cyprus is an interesting place. I said a lot of history. I was able even today, early this morning, to just walk down to the Church of St. Lazarus, which has been here. The church itself, maybe the building has been built at different times, but since 890 AD, The story is, of course, in the scripture, in the book of John, Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead. He's been dead for 4 days, and Jesus performs a miracle, raises him from the dead. And then after that, of course, we don't know a lot other than from some historical evidence and some legend. But after Jesus' resurrection and ascension to heaven, there was increased persecution in that area at that time. So the legend and history is that Lazarus left that area, came to Cyprus, and lived out the rest of his life, 30-some years here, ministering. And then he died and was buried for the second and last time. And that church is built as a Byzantine church, is built on the location of his tomb. So there are a lot of pilgrims from around the world that will come by, even yet. It used to be even more popular maybe than it is now. But come by and pay their respects and think about who Lazarus was and who Jesus is. It's a Greek Orthodox church and has been and functioned that way for a long period of time. It's beautiful, beautiful piece of architecture. And, of course, old, very, very old. So when you think about the Middle East, think about this. I think we get a lot of news in the West that portrays the very worst of what's happening in the Middle East. And those things are happening. There's war, there's violence, there's people being persecuted, there's people being killed. But most of that's being done by extremists. Now, that means it's happening still, not diminishing that in any way, but it doesn't mean that all the people in the Middle East agree with that or that they're part of that or want that for their families. And so you got to parse that and kind of think, well, wait a minute now. There are literally millions of people in the Middle East and North Africa that do not hate the United States, do not hate the West, do not hate Christianity, are hungry for freedom, are hungry for liberties in their own lives, but also religious liberty and liberty of thought and conscience and the ability to worship God and to pursue their faith in their life as they believe that they should. And that's something that, again, Sat7 is committed to, is to reinforcing them in their understanding of their humanity in terms of who God is and how God has made them and their eternal value, whether men, whether women, whether children, whether some minority of whatever kind, and to share with them, as we say from Scripture, the message of reconciliation. That Christians have a message of reconciliation. We're supposed to be ambassadors of reconciliation wherever we go, and that's Sat7's role here. So I consider it a privilege, my 11th year, to be working and serving with Sat7, though most of my work, of course, is in the United States, and this has been a great trip to spend time with these wonderful colleagues and their commitment into what they do. And so we ask you to pray for them, and we'll catch you later. See you again.